All aboard! God, I loved hearing that. We're taking the legendary California Zephyr from Chicago to San Francisco. 2 nights, 7 states, and 2,400 miles. Come along with us for all the views and reviews. Chicago's Union Station isn't just a train terminal, it's a cathedral of travel. Opened in 1925, this Beaux-Arts masterpiece was designed as part of a grand vision for the city. At the heart is the Great Hall, a soaring space of marble floors, 110-foot vaulted ceilings, and monumental Corinthian columns topped with leafy gold capitals. The Great Hall is 24,000 square feet of gorgeous, and it's one of the last great train stations in America, and it's still connecting people in style a century later. For decades, millions of travelers have passed through these echoing halls. From wartime goodbyes to cross-country family reunions, this station has witnessed generations of American stories. High above the archways flanking the tunnel entrance are 2 golden goddess statues, each standing 12 to 14 feet tall. They were created by Henry Herring, and they represent the 24-hour life of railroading. One holds a rooster symbolizing day as she gazes skyward, and the other holds an owl embodying night while she gazes downward. Together they remind us that Union Station never sleeps. Since we booked a roomette, we had access to Amtrak's Metropolitan Lounge, an upgrade not included with a coach ticket. The space was clean and comfortable with complimentary snacks and drinks. It was the perfect spot to relax, recharge, and escape the busy station while waiting to board our train. And let me add here that there was a cash bar for anyone wanting to have an adult beverage. Woohoo! It is time to board. And I must admit, if you couldn't already tell, I felt like a kid at Christmas morning. There's just something magical about stepping onto a train, especially one that's about to take you all the way across the country. It's adventure at its best. We found our car, met our attendant, which we adored, and climbed up the narrow staircase to our roomette. We got settled, and then the train started the gentle sway as we pulled away from Chicago and began our journey west. Along the way, we soaked in the ever-changing views. The city skylines gave way to open fields, as you can see, and the rhythm of the tracks really felt like a lullaby for the trip ahead. Later in the video, we'll show you our first dinner, which was amazing, do a tour of the roomette, and I also got access to a bedroom, and even take you inside a few of the bathrooms. They can vary on different cars, and let's be real, you want to see them before you book. The California Zephyr wasn't always called that. Back when it first took to the rails in 1949, it was part of what was known as the Burlington route, a collaboration between the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad, and Denver and Grand Western, and the Western Pacific. At the heart were the legendary Pullman cars, which offered passengers a level of comfort and service that felt more like a 5-star rolling hotel than a train. There was polished wood paneling, white-gloved porters, even chandeliers as part of their luxurious interiors. Let's get some dinner, and then we'll get back to more on that later. The dining car was super welcoming with white tablecloths and real roses. And of course, the huge windows for the main course, which is the view. Phoenix started with the shrimp tempura and ordered a famous flat iron steak. I had a fresh salad followed by the salmon. The steak was cooked to her preference and lived up to its reputation. The salmon was delicious, even though the rice was a tad spicy for Phoenix. For dessert, Phoenix ordered the cheesecake and gave a whole thumbs up for her approval. And quick note for those new to traveling on Amtrak. The tables seat 4 people. That means they seat 4 people, even if there are only 2 of you. Get ready to know some of your fellow travelers. Earlier in the day, Donna from the dining car came by and took our appetizer order and time slot for dinner. We chose the earliest seating, and I'm so happy we did. We were lucky enough to eat dinner while gliding across the great Mississippi. Donna in the dining car was one of our favorite attendants. She started off every announcement with, "This is Donna in the dining car," which was a fun addition to her already big personality. She was a whole vibe, and we loved her. Now let's get back to those Pullman cars. The most extravagant of the Pullman cars were privately owned ones, often called private varnish. Those catered to the ultra wealthy. And the original California Zephyr, along with its own fleet of passenger cars, could be seen pulling the private Pullmans as well. This was the rise of the railroad barons and the golden era of train travel. It was elegance in motion. The California Zephyr was the first transcontinental train to regularly feature Vista Dome observation cars, and the train's timetable was strategically designed to traverse the most breathtaking sections of the route during the daylight hours. It's no mistake that Iowa, goes by at night and the Sierra Nevadas and Rockies are during the day. One fun fact I discovered, among many, while researching the history of the California Zephyr were the Zephyrettes. What is a Zephyrette, you might ask? Well, let me tell you, they are female hostesses. The Zephyrettes were part of the California Zephyr from 1949 to 1970, and they played a crucial role in enhancing passenger experience. But now, let's check out Denver. We'll get back to the Zephyrettes in a second. Denver Union Station was opened in 1881, and a fire led to a rebuild in 1894.
Unusable, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, is a whole lot of not fun for everyone. Thank you very much.
What did he say about paper products?
Don't flush them down the toilet.
Unless it's toilet paper.
Unless it's toilet paper.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's a whole lot of problem for everybody. Denver Station allowed us to get out and walk around for about 35 to 40 minutes, which was our longest stop by far. Now, let's get back to the Zephyrettes. They were expected to be professional, approachable, and dedicated. A former Zephyrette described it as being a hostess to a house party of 300 self-invited guests whom you don't know. Since I'm an introvert, I'm pretty sure I would not have done well as a Zephyrette. Some of their duties included providing information about the route and points of interest, facilitating communication by handling messages and mail, and helping passengers with special needs. They served as the face of the California Zephyr and helped make each trip a memory to remember. As you might recall, the original California Zephyr was a collaboration between 3 railroad companies, and building the route through the Rockies was largely handled by the Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad Company. And as you can imagine, they faced significant challenges. While building through this mountainous terrain, they had to overcome obstacles such as steep grades, harsh weather, and the need for tunnels and bridges. The Zephyr goes through 29 tunnels before reaching the Moffett Tunnel. This 6.2-mile-long tunnel was one of the most notable feats of engineering along the route through the Rockies and was completed in 1928. At the time of its completion, it was the longest tunnel in the Western Hemisphere. The Moffett Tunnel took roughly 6 years to finish and cuts straight through James Peak and the Continental Divide. Crews worked year-round in the harsh conditions, and it was completed at a staggering cost of more than $18 million. But the payoff was well worth it. 170 miles were shaved off the trip from Denver to Salt Lake City. As you're watching the scenery pass, I don't have to remind you why this is considered one of the most scenic trains in North America. As the miles roll by, you witness the ever-changing landscape. Flatlands and farms in Illinois, towering peaks in the Sierra Nevada, red rock canyons along the Colorado River, dense pine forests, and wide desert valleys. The Zephyr passes through remote wilderness and crosses the Continental Divide. What you doing over there?
Reading, and I burped the wrong way.
There are unforgettable stops along the way, from mountain towns like Glenwood Springs, which was once a lawless area called Defiance, to bustling cities like Denver and Salt Lake City. And one of the most infamous and legendary stretches of the Zephyr route is the Donner Pass. While today its scenic alpine corridor is full of tourists, It's best known for the story of the Donner Party. The Donner Party, a group of 87 pioneers, became trapped near Donner Lake by a brutal snowstorm. They had aimed to reach California before winter, but delays and a fateful decision to take an untested shortcut left them stranded. Snowdrifts reached over 20 feet high, and passing this gorgeous scenery on our trip, with the sun shining, it's really hard to imagine. Only about half the party made it out alive, and if you've read the stories, you know what many of them ate to survive. Their story is one of the most infamous tragedies of westward expansion, and a very real reminder of how unforgiving these mountains can be. The California Zephyr is a story that spans more than 75 years, and as stunning as it is, it almost disappeared. By the late 1960s, passenger rail in the U.S. was in a steep decline. The golden age of rail travel was giving way to airlines and interstate highways, and private railroads could no longer afford to keep passenger trains running. One by one, routes were cut, and in the 1970s, the original California Zephyr made its final run. For a time, the famous name vanished from the schedule, but in 1971, the federal government stepped in and created Amtrak, a new national rail service designed to preserve long-distance train travel. It began operating with a patchwork of surviving routes, slowly rebuilding America's rail network. In 1983, Amtrak officially revived the California Zephyr name. Today's California Zephyr is a blended route combining the old and the new. It combines parts of the original route with newer connections because parts of the original line were no longer in service. Train travel has obviously changed a lot over the decades, but somehow it's also stayed the same. In the golden age of rail, passengers crossed the country in style, dining on white tablecloths, sleeping in elegant sleeper cars, and taking in the landscape from high, domed observation lounges. Today, the domes are gone, and the observation car can feel a bit crowded. But there's Wi-Fi, where there used to be smoking lounges, and I'm not really upset about that. There is still white tablecloths and real roses at dinner. The plates are proper with the Amtrak logo. You can still pick your dinner time and have wine served. Attendants still move through the cars to help passengers settle in and still call all aboard when it's time. There might be roomette options instead of Pullman sleeper cars, but does that change the excitement of the trip? Absolutely not. Waking up to the sunrise in a new state, feeling the gentle rock of the train moving, walking to the dining car and having dinner and a glass of wine while watching the scenery pass. That's really the heart of the experience, and it hasn't changed. The real magic of a train trip is that it doesn't just take you somewhere. It takes you back, too. So we're on the California Zephyr on our way from Chicago to San Francisco. Right now we're in Colorado, about to go into Utah. The California Zephyr hits 7 states, I believe. And I wanted to do a room tour, but it's really not a whole lot to the roomettes. They do not include a bathroom. You've got to go down the hallway. Same thing with a shower. It's got this.
My foot.
Sorry, Phoenix. So it's got this.
Put it up.
It's got a bed that folds down that you can sleep in. It's got some little push lights. It's got curtains and a door that latches from the inside. One plug. Another little light. Call button. So I guess what I would just say is, don't do the Amtrak and expect the Oriental Express, because this is not that. But it is an amazing experience. The food has been great. Our attendant has been wonderful.
We love Gregory.
We love Gregory. The scenery, even before we got to the Rockies, the scenery was beautiful. So I definitely think that everyone should take an Amtrak trip. Just remember, the rooms are small. They don't come with a lot of amenities. I'd like to add here that Amtrak has come a long way in the last few years. The service, the sleeper cars, even the meals, they've all seen a noticeable improvement. And that's saying something, because not too long ago, Amtrak was on the edge. At several points in its history, Amtrak was on the verge of going bankrupt. Underfunded, undersupported, and often overlooked in favor of airlines and highways. But thanks to renewed investment and a growing interest in history and sustainable scenic travel, the company is slowly rebuilding. It's not perfect, but let's be honest, what is? There's definitely been a shift, and there's a sense that people are falling in love with train travel again. We met so many people from other countries so excited to be on this train journey with us, and I felt that excitement too. But who actually built the train that would become a legend? The Budd Company had already made a name for itself by the mid-20th century with its innovative use of stainless steel in passenger cars. Unlike traditional riveted steel, Budd's patented shot weld technique allowed for seamless, lightweight construction, stronger, sleeker, and more resistant to corrosion. We'll get back to how this incredible train came together, but first, food. This was our second meal on board, and like the first, it didn't disappoint. I went with the baked chicken, and Phoenix had the salmon. As before, the salmon was perfect, and the chicken was tender and had great flavor. All right, guys, so this is your bathroom tour as much as it is. So, come on in to where we take a shower. Soap, some towels, and this. So, no amenities other than soap. Water pressure's good. Hot water's good. Drainage, not so great. But you're clean after you're done. So, and that concludes your bathroom tour. Let's get back to the Budd Company. Their reputation preceded them, and it caught the attention of several major railroads looking to create something extraordinary. When the Burlington, Rio Grande, and Western Pacific teamed up to launch the Zephyr, it was Budd they turned to. Their expertise in streamlined design and their domed observation cars made them the obvious choice to bring the dream of a luxury sightseeing train to life. And Budd didn't just design the California Zephyr, they built it, and fast. The entire fleet, including 11 custom stainless steel cars, came together in under 18 months. The original Zephyr wasn't just about getting to San Francisco from Chicago. It was about traveling in style. And nowhere was that more apparent than the sleeper cars. In Budd's design, these cars offered a level of comfort and privacy that's rare. Each sleeper car was carefully thought out with a mix of roomettes, double bedroom compartments, and drawing rooms. But what really set them apart? Every room had its own toilet and wash basin. So it's hard to imagine, but passengers in the 1950s had more bathroom privacy than most train travelers today. The vibe was less like a train and more like a boutique hotel moving across the country. Quick heads up, if you notice my voice sounds a little different than it did in the beginning of the video, it's because I caught a bit of a cold between recording sessions. But I absolutely did not want to delay sharing this journey with you. The adventure must go on. Behind the scenes on Amtrak, there is a full kitchen in motion, literally. Meals are prepared in a compact galley kitchen tucked inside the dining car, where the crew works through the constant movement, limited space, and tight timing. There is no open flame on board, but chefs, that's right, chefs, use convection ovens, steamers, and warming units to cook everything fresh for each meal service. And speaking of meals, breakfast on Amtrak was amazing. The omelet was super fresh and the cheese surprisingly stringy. The idea of cooking meals on a moving train isn't new. The original California Zephyr featured a state-of-the-art kitchen as well for its time. Designed by the Angelo Colonna Company, a firm known for luxury train interiors, those original galley kitchens were extremely efficient with stainless steel workstations, refrigeration units, and ovens. Today's Amtrak kitchens have evolved with new technology, but the layout and function are surprisingly similar. And the effort it takes to prepare a delicious meal while rolling through the Rockies should not be overlooked and is super impressive. Creating a meal on a moving train takes planning. And what better way to plan for passengers than a culinary advisory team? That's right. Each year, a group of award-winning chefs gather at Amtrak's Test Kitchen in Wilmington, Delaware, to design and refine the meals you eat on board. And it's not just about great flavor. These chefs use the same equipment found on the train to test how ingredients store, how dishes travel, and how well meals can be prepared at 70 miles an hour. And from dozens of options, only a select few make it to the train menu. The result is a rotating selection of meals tailored to work within the limits of train travel while still making sure your food tastes great. It's gourmet, but adapted to the rails. One of my favorite resources on the California Zephyr has been John Kelly's book, The California Zephyr, an entertaining history of America's most celebrated train route. Kelly combines vivid storytelling and archival treasures such as vintage ads, timetables, floor plans, and rare photos to bring the journey to life. Another great reference, but definitely more serious, has been Amtrak, America's Railroad, transportation's orphan, and its struggle for survival.
Hi everyone. This is what it looks like whenever it's not folded into a bed. You can see the bunk bed is up there as well, and it comes down, and then there's two beds. The chairs recline and sit up, so you get more space depending on what you want. But yeah, and there's a table. It's a really heavy table.
And a great view. We're rolling into one of our final stops, and I really think that it is important that everybody can hear Gregory say, "All aboard," one last time.
All aboard!
I can only hope that I could say it that well one day. Hey guys, so I snuck over to the next car, and it's a newer model than the car that we're in. So the bathroom here is a little bigger and the rooms are a little bigger. Now, just keep in mind that when you get on Amtrak, you really don't know what kind of car you're going to get in, but I wanted to give you guys an example of what our bathroom looks like and then what this bathroom looks like. So you don't always know. For example, let's just look. Sorry, that was my hand. But look, this has a whole shower door. Okay? And there's a seat in there. Okay? I'm gonna do a little quick video. So, as I mentioned earlier, bathrooms can change from car to car, and it's really just luck of the draw on which bathroom you get and what you're going to be showering in. So, I wanted to share another bathroom so that it wasn't just our experience that you think you may be getting. Let me just say that every attendant on every car was so nice, and the attendant on the next car, even though I forgot to get her name, allowed me to walk through a bedroom. Now, we had a roomette, and it was a lot smaller, as you can see. A bedroom has its own shower and toilet, so that you can shower in the privacy of your own room, and it also has a sink, so that you can brush your teeth where other people are not using the restroom. And a roomette really did sleep us comfortably, but a bedroom definitely has more room for you to stretch out during the day. As we reach the final miles of our journey and watch the mountains turn to water, I feel so thankful. Thankful for the time with Phoenix, the quiet moments watching the scenery change, and the fact that I was even on this trip. Far too often, I think we get carried away with life and what we think we should be doing. Bigger houses, more expensive cars, and longer hours at the office. And maybe it's more about spending time with those that we love and taking that trip we always wanted to. I'm so thankful for this time and on this trip with Phoenix. Okay, did you have fun?
Yes, I did.
These days, the California Zephyr ends in Emeryville, just across from San Francisco. From there, Amtrak passengers transfer to a connecting bus that crosses the Bay Bridge into the city. But back in the day, the train went the whole way. It crossed into San Francisco on the lower level of the Bay Bridge, sharing space with streetcars and freight lines. That service ended decades ago, and it's a reminder of how train travel has changed. But the bus ride for the final leg is still a part of the journey, and we loved it all. Up next, I'll be sharing my final thoughts on the entire trip, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us on this Amtrak adventure, and make sure to subscribe to see where we end up next.
I'm going to San Francisco. I'm going to find a disco.
So we have completed our Amtrak trip and we have checked into our hotel in San Francisco, and I just wanted to give some feedback on how I really feel about Amtrak and our trip. So we booked the roomette, and really it is good for two people, but I feel like if you're gonna be on Amtrak for as long as we were, upgrading to the bedroom, which is a little bigger, has its own bathroom and a sink, is really probably the way to go. I kind of learned, because I didn't think about this, so I'm sharing it with everyone else. I really didn't think about how I would feel brushing my teeth in the same room that a stranger just used the bathroom in, if you know where I'm going with that. That is what I would highly recommend. Upgrade to a bedroom. Don't get a roomette. Our attendants were amazing. Our Gregory, who took care of our car, and then Donna in the diner were two of our favorite people. And I just can't love the staff of Amtrak enough. Being able to watch the scenery change from Chicago, Illinois, across the Rockies and into California was some of the most breathtaking views I've ever seen. And, you know, if you're driving, you just can't look at it like you can when you're just passing through there in a train. And the train passes through a lot of places that cars don't even go. So, all in all, wrapping it up, I loved our trip. It was amazing. My suggestions are upgrade to a bedroom if you're wondering. A roomette is great, but kind of small, and I didn't really like the whole bathroom situation. But anyway, I would say do it. It is an absolutely great experience, and thanks for joining us on this adventure.